I still remember the first time I watched Ryder collapse in the middle of a New York City street. His body simply gave out beneath him, and instead of being allowed to rest, his owner kept trying to force him back onto his feet. People nearby immediately stepped in, saying it was obvious he needed help, not punishment. A few moments later, mounted police officers arrived and did everything they could to save him. They covered him with ice and poured water over his body, hoping to cool him down. Watching those moments unfold stayed with me for a long time. Ryder's story reached millions of people, and for many of them, it was the first time they questioned what life is really like for carriage horses. From the outside, it's easy to believe these horses spend their days in Central Park, walking on grass between rides. The reality is much different. After working long hours, they still have to make their way through heavy midtown traffic before returning to old multi-level stables. Instead of open fields, many spend their nights in small stalls with very little room to move. Every time I think about that, I wish more people could see what happens after the carriages disappear from the streets. One of the hardest parts is how difficult it can be to help these horses. The carriage business is privately owned, and the owners have complete control over them. There are no independent veterinarians regularly checking their condition, which means many problems remain hidden from the public. We've tried many times to rescue horses from this system. Even when we've offered to buy them, owners often refuse because they don't want attention focused on what happens behind the scenes. Every successful rescue feels rare because so many obstacles stand in the way. Each carriage horse is identified by a 4-digit hoof number while working in the city. Sadly, that number is often removed before a horse leaves the industry, making it much harder to trace where he or she ends up. Without that identification, many horses simply disappear from public view. That's why Chance's story means so much to me. She had only spent a few years pulling carriages in New York City, but by then her body had already paid a heavy price. Once she was no longer making money for her owners, they decided they didn't need her anymore. Thankfully, we were able to step in before she disappeared like so many others. We brought Chance to safety and gave her the retirement she had never been allowed to enjoy. At first, she was quiet and exhausted, but little by little, she started becoming brighter and more interested in the world around her. It took months before I saw the happy horse hiding beneath everything she had been through. Watching her recover reminded me that Ryder's story wasn't only about one horse. It became a chance to speak for all the horses still pulling carriages through New York every single day, hoping that one day they too might have the opportunity to simply live as horses. We couldn't change what had happened to Ryder, but we believed his story could still make a difference. That's why we began supporting Ryder's Law, hoping it would give carriage horses the protection they had gone without for so long. Our goal has always been simple: help these horses leave the city behind and spend the rest of their lives in sanctuaries where they can finally be horses. Changing a system like this isn't easy. New York City is one of the last major cities that still allows horse-drawn carriages, and the industry has considerable influence. Even so, more and more people have begun speaking up because they believe these horses deserve a better future. Many New Yorkers, the Central Park Conservancy, and several members of the City Council have publicly supported Ryder's law. Even with that support, the proposal has struggled to move forward. That has reminded me that real change often takes patience and people who are willing to keep speaking even when progress feels slow. Whenever someone asks how they can help, my answer is always the same. A phone call, a letter, or an email to an elected official may seem like a small action, but together those voices matter. Every message reminds leaders that compassion should always have a place in the decisions they make. While we continued fighting for carriage horses, another rescue called us into action. We learned about a mare named Lady who had been removed from a property where more than 120 neglected animals were confiscated. The person responsible had been arrested, and we left immediately to bring her to safety. The first time I saw Lady, she could barely walk off the trailer. She was hundreds of pounds underweight, badly dehydrated, covered with flies, and her body was filled with painful sores. Our veterinarian warned us that she might only have hours, or perhaps a few days, left to live. Those first days were incredibly delicate. We focused on helping her eat a little at a time and carefully treated her damaged skin every single day. Each small improvement, whether she lifted her head, took a few more steps, or finished another meal, gave all of us hope. Before long, Lady formed a special bond with Ron. She always seemed calmer whenever he was nearby, listening to his voice while he gently brushed her coat. Once we knew she wasn't contagious, we introduced another horse named Royal, and something beautiful happened. Royal didn't hesitate to walk over to her. His own mother had once suffered from a similar skin disease before being rescued, and somehow Lady's scent seemed familiar to him. He gently kissed her, licked her wounds, stood close beside her, and quietly comforted her in a way none of us could. Over the following months, Lady slowly became stronger. She gained nearly 500 pounds, her wounds healed, and the frightened mare we first met gradually disappeared. Today, she's healthy, confident, and has become one of the boldest horses in the pasture, happily keeping everyone else in line. Looking back, Ryder and Lady taught me different lessons, but both stories remind me why this work matters. One showed us why animals need stronger protection, and the other showed us what love, patience, and time can do when an animal is finally given a chance. If you're thinking about rescuing or adopting a horse with special needs, take time to learn about their care and seek guidance from experienced professionals. And if these stories meant something to you, we'd be grateful if you liked, shared, and subscribed so we can keep sharing the journeys of animals who deserve to be remembered.